Hey, welcome to my Dragon Nemesis deck profile. So this is by far not the most optimal way to play this deck. However, it is one of the most fun. This deck is extremely flexible. Pretty much every hand will have a different way to get to the end board, and you have to have very careful management of your resources in grave. It can also play very low to the ground with most hands, however it does have some hands which have very large pop-offs. The best end board this deck can possibly set up is Thunder Dragon Colossus, Titan, Protoss, Apo with a Snow Engrave, which I would say is pretty good. Speaking of the Snow, the reason why I'm playing it is as the target to dump off of Chaos Valkyria, because when this card is banished you get to send a light or dark monster from your deck to the graveyard, but you can't use its effects this turn. The main reasons why I'm playing Chaos Valkyria is in case you've drawn some of the Chaos Dragons, and you have Chaos Space in hand. This gives you an additional add that will also let you extend. In this slot, if you want, you can play Chaos Dragon Levier. However, I found that with Protoss in the deck, it rarely has enough materials to actually get the hand rip effect. The reason why I'm not playing Batteryman Solar is because it not only competes for the normal with Aloof Lupine, but also Matrix. It also competes with normal summon if you were to tribute for one of your Thunder Dragon Dark or Raw, which happens more often than you may think. Speaking of Raw, the reason why I'm on 3 Raw is because whilst it's not the greatest thing to draw, you do just need enough names for your Aloof Lupine, your Low Darkness, and your Chaos Space. As for the 1 Hawk, 1 Fusion, the fusion's easy to explain. Because you have access to Vert at almost all points in the game, you always have access to fusion. And as for the Hawk, it's really not a great draw, and it's not a good banish off of any of the aforementioned ways we have to banish. So you only ever want to be getting it with Thunder Dragon Dark. And the main reason for playing the Nemesis engine is not only that it's more fun, but also because this deck has a terrible Tillerman matchup, something that Protoss helps to alleviate. And on to the extra, the fusions are pretty self-explanatory, so you might be wondering why I'm playing both Link Rebo and Almirage, for which one of the only ways to summon Almirage is with Matrix. The reason for this is because if you normal Matrix, you almost always want to go into Almirage, because Almirage is a fire, which is great attributes for Protoss. The Striker Dragon is pretty simple to stand. It makes either one of your Chaos Dragons a 1-card Link 2, and it allows you to get into Spheres, which is a good card to end on. Phoenix, IP Masquerade you rarely ever go into. Cross Sheep is very important to be able to link climb. Verte is vitally important. But Donna and Unicorn don't come up that often. Apo comes up occasionally, and Access Code rarely ever comes up, but when it does, it is very useful. Because this deck kind of has a hard time closing out the games. It can make games last for a while thanks to the Floodgates effect of Colossus, but to actually finish the games, you're often going to need to set up a Titan Colossus with some other big push in the form of maybe a Unicorn, which is exact lethal. And that's pretty much it. I've really enjoyed playing this deck. I find it very enjoyable to try to figure out what the optimal line is, but I'm not convinced that the deck is by any means perfect. If you do have any suggestions, let me know, because I do want to make this deck as best as it can possibly be. Anyway, thank you for watching. Boy.